see Tom doing the tomato bed. What's going on here?
Good morning. Yeah, this morning it was time to get the tomatoes in. This is where we plant them. It's the sunniest spot in the yard. I can control the water. I've got a hose right there. And so this is a great spot. We've had great success here, so I'm going to continue it. But last year when I was digging, I found some of the spots had gotten very hard. Now, I don't want to rototill because I do pretty much non-tilling gardening here. So what I did was a method I saw on one of the videos where you use the pitchfork, and I'll show you. I dig in and I lift, and then I dig in, lift, and then break. And that gave me a very nice loose soil. I had some hard clumps of clay, not clay, but just hard clumps of, let's call it dirt. Not something you want to put your plants in. And what I did with those, I let them dry out just for about 10-15 minutes. Boy, you come back with the rake and hit them, and they just broke right up. And now I have this nice bed that I can plant in. Of course, I will enrich every hole that I dig for my tomatoes. I will put a giant handful of lobster compost in each one and put my cages around them. They're ready to go.
I also noticed that you removed all of last year's bark mulch.
I did, because that bark mulch was bag bark mulch, and although it's listed as organic, and I'm sure it is, I look at it to say it's mostly wood chip, and I don't particularly want wood chip. I'd rather have that nice pine bark mulch that we had delivered, because it's more appealing to the eye, and I just feel as though, hey, my food's under there. Do I want a dyed organic product on top of my tomatoes? So that's the reason. I'm just scraping it off and trying again.
All right, pretty cool. So how many tomatoes do you think you're going to plant this year?
I have counted 22, but I gave 2 to the neighbor. They were a beautiful heirloom tomato, the purple Cherokee, and he had never had them before, so I passed those along to him, leaving me 20 tomatoes. I've got 4 of the Roma. I've got 4 of the Burpee Big Boy. I have 4 of the Lemon Boy, and 6 purple Cherokee. Which,
and the couple of cherry tomatoes that I picked out.
oh, that's right. Oh, and don't forget, we bought that one mortgage lifter. It's the one that supposedly will give us 1 pound tomatoes. So I think one of those is just fine.
All right, well, I'll let you get back to work.
Thanks. Well, after much anticipation, I am now ready to plant my tomatoes. I already got a few in the ground, and I spared you the digging of the hole, but just to let you know, the soil is so well prepared. You dig a hole and it just crumbles and falls back in, and that's what I was looking for, is that nice texture. I'm breaking up any of these little clumps that are coming up, so that's all good. There were a few tomatoes that had flowers. In fact, this one right here has a flower. And I am going to remove that flower. Little tiny plants should not be worried about making a tomato right now. Little tiny plants should be worried about growing. And I'm going to snip off all of this young growth. I like to use the scissors. I tried pinching them, but I find them too clumsy sometimes and I tear the plant. Now I've got all this beautiful plant with all these nice little hairs that'll turn into root. So, first things first, I'll enrich the soil. My in-ground planting mix. I decided I wasn't going to go with the lobster compost. I was going to go with this in-ground mix, which is absolutely just as good. And it's made for vegetables, it's made for in-ground, and if that company says to me that's where it belongs, that's what I'm going to use. All right, in goes a little plant. In comes a little dirt.
And you're planting it nice and deep.
Oh yes, that's why I removed all those leaves. Get down there. Okay, now that I got it that far down with the soil, now comes, because I said that all those little hairs around the base are all going to form roots, I'm going to concentrate my compost right there. Come back in, come back in, back in. I know I'm overdoing it, but you know what? It's my garden, my veggies. I have time. It's fun. So why not have fun with it? Oh, little tomato tone. And then how about another handful of Mother Nature? And let's bring it all back together. Where'd that little wormy go? I had a worm. Anytime I expose a worm, I make sure he goes back. Don't want him baking out here in the sun. I want him over here where my plant is. And that is a tomato plant. Can't wait for that first BLT.
You can see here that Tom's tomato bed is now fully planted. I think there are 24 plants in here, and they are surrounded by a good quality pine bark mulch, which is a good thing to do, mulching your tomatoes. It helps to ward against early and late blight, which is a soil-borne organism and can splash up on the plants when you're watering or during a rainfall. So what's the last step here, Tom?
I got the tags. A small hole punch a hole. And then I'm gonna hang the tag from my cage. Rather than put it in the soil with all the bark mulch where I would never read it, it would probably get watered in, it would probably get stomped on. By hanging it here, it's a nice reminder of what I planted. So there's the first one. And again, ooh, mortgage lifter. Little 4-inch zip tie. That was him. Yeah, it's that simple.
So we'll be looking forward to lots of spaghetti sauce. Tom ends up making and canning anywhere from, 10 to 20 quarts every year.
Yes. Yeah, it just depends on how much we haven't eaten, the crop bounty, whether it's a good year or bad year. You know, somebody asked me, what do I grow in my garden? My answer was spaghetti sauce, because what is in my garden? Onions, peppers, garlic, tomatoes, parsley, basil. I always like to throw a little celery in there, chopped up, you know, put it in a food processor so it's real small, because to me it adds a little more character to the sauce. But that's a secret, and I can't tell you that, because then you'd make my sauce and, oh wait, I just told you that. This isn't working.
So here's the last look at it. And that is greenhouse flooring fabric that we have as the paths in between. Works really, really well. So we'll look forward to making sauce together in the fall. I hope you enjoyed seeing tomato planting here on Gardening Genes.